recap. We'll go into today's topic. Fine. Let me start. Let me select the database. Okay. So in the last class, we have discussed about the database and the SQL. Okay. So why we use database? We use database for storing the data. We use database for storing the data. Okay. So now if I want, like if a user want to store the data, I want to insert some records. Okay. I want to insert some records into the database. Nothing but I want to insert some data, right? So like nothing but my personal details like ID, one, name, power, and phone number, something into this database. I want to insert these details into the database. So can I directly insert? Okay, directly insert into the database, it is going to hello? No, it will throw the error. Why? Because you are using English keywords. You are using English keywords to insert the record, and database can understand only the binary language. Binary language means zeros and ones. Okay, it can understand only the binary language. You know the English. Now what I need to do? I need to use the common language, that is nothing but SQL. I need to use SQL for inserting the records. Right? Now by using this SQL keyword, nothing but insert into table name. Okay, and then values, these are the values. So by using this SQL language, I can insert the record into the database, because database can understand only the binary language. So to use the common language between the user and the database, we use SQL. Okay, this is what we have discussed in the last class. Then we have discussed about the tables. Okay, in the database, where we store the data? We store the data in tables. We store the data in tables. Table is nothing but an object. Okay, table is an object. Okay, we store the data in the form of rows and columns. We store the data in the form of rows and columns. Okay, this is what we have discussed in the last class. Let me go to SQL. Okay, so yeah, that is what we have discussed in the last class. We have discussed about database, SQL, PostgreSQL, and installation steps. Okay, so if you are facing any issues while doing the installation, or you are not able to do the installation tomorrow and day after tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, I'm available from 1 to 4. You can connect with me 1 to 1. I'll help you with the installation. Okay, so that is what we have discussed in the last class. So these are the things we have discussed in the last class. Just go with the recording. Okay, so I have shared these recordings like demo recording and first day recording. Just go with the recording. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about the sub languages in SQL. So what are the sub languages we have in SQL? We have DDL, DML, DQL, and DCL, and then TCL. So this we call it as sub languages in the SQL. So what are the sub languages we have? We have DDL, DML, DQL, DCL, and TCL. So today we'll discuss about all these things. Okay. Today we are going to execute the queries on this DDL, DML, DQL, DCL, and TCL. Okay. We'll discuss everything related to these sub languages. Okay. Let me start with the DDL. DDL means data definition language. Here I have around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, total 5 keywords. Okay, by using this DDL, I can create the structure of the object. By using this DDL, what I can do, I can create the structure of the object. Okay, object nothing but it may be a table, it may be a view, it may be a materialized view. To create the structure of the object, I use this DDL commands. What are the DDL commands I have? I have create, alter, truncate, and then drop. So these are all the DDL commands we use. So we'll go one by one. So why we use this create keyword? Okay, to create the structure of the object. So in the structure, what are the things are involved? It involved data type, column name, length, and constraint. By using these elements, I'm going to create the structure of the object. We'll show you in the later session, like how to create on all those things. I'll show you in the PostgreSQL. Okay. Next, we have alter command. What we can do by using this alter command, we can modify the structure of the object. Nothing but I can add one extra column, I can remove the existing column, I can rename the column, I can rename the table name as well. Okay, I can rename the table name as well. So previously it's a date of birth, I can rename to birth date. Like that, I can add columns, I can drop the columns. Okay, I can rename the columns and I can rename the table name as well by using this alter command. By using this alter command, I can modify the structure of the object. Okay, next, next. Next, I have a truncate option. What this truncate will do, okay, it remains structure same, but it will remove all the data inside the table. So whatever the data we are storing in the table, that was deleted completely by using this truncate. What exactly truncate will do? It will remove the data. Structure remains same. Truncate will make structure remain same, but it will completely delete all the data in the table. Then the final one is drop. So by using drop, I will delete both data as well as structure of the object. So these all are DDL commands. Okay. What are the DDL commands we have? Create, alter, drop, and truncate. We use create to create the structure of the object. We use alter to add add column, to remove column, to rename the column, to rename the table. I use this alter command. Next, so there is a keyword called drop. By using drop, I can remove both data and structure of the object. Okay, and the last one is truncate. What we are doing by using truncate, structure remains same, data will get deleted. Structure remains same, data will be remain same. Okay, so these all are DDL commands we have in SQL. Next, we have DML. So in the DML, we have insert, update, and delete. Okay, what we do by using these DML commands, I can insert the records as highlighted in the last class. Whatever the data I am inserting into the table, that will be inserted in the form of row. Okay, if I want to add Pawan record, it will be added here in the form of row. So by using these DML commands, I can I can handle the data. Handling means I can insert the data, I can update the record, and I can delete the record as well. Okay. So now here, whatever the data I'm inserting into the table, that will be inserted in the form of row. Okay. Now insertion is done. Okay. So client told to modify the data. Client told to modify the data. Okay, so to modify this HR assistance to HR executive, you can see 104 record. I want to update this HR assistance to HR executive. Then what I use? I use this update command. By using update command, I can modify the data wherever I want. Okay, and the last one is delete. By using delete, I can remove the rows. Okay, so if I want to remove this 103 by using this delete command, I can remove it. So if you see here in the 104, I want to delete this 104. So if I delete, the result set will look like this. So these all are DML commands. Okay, and the last one is DQL, nothing but select query. So this is a special type. Okay, so this DQL is very important, where we use a lot in the real time. All these DDL and DML are one-time operations. Okay, so I want to create a database, I want to create all the objects, we'll do it once, but every day we process the data by using this select query. So this is very important, you need to concentrate a lot in the related to this DQL concept. Okay. Next, we have DCL, data control language. So by using this DCL, I can provide access to the table and I can remove access to the table by using this grant and revoke. So grant is for providing the access, revoke is removing the access. So these are data control languages. And the final one is TCL, transactional control language. These are used to I can say, so to access or to process the session or to control the sessions, I can say by using TCL, you can handle the session in a simple terminology. So if I want to handle the session, then I need to use this TCL, transactional control language. So if I'm doing some transaction nothing but it may be insertion, updation, select query, anything, right? If I'm doing transaction, okay, so it's in my hand to whether the transaction need to be saved or roll back. Okay, so with the help of these keywords, commit, rollback, and save point, I can control these transactions. So this we'll discuss in the later class. Okay, that's it. That's it about these sub languages in SQL. In SQL, we have DDL, DML, DQL, DCL, and then this TCL. So these are the five sub languages we have in SQL. So here DQL is very important. We as a data engineer, we use this DQL command a lot, okay, for processing the data. So any doubts up to here? Any doubts? Arsha, Ranjit, Rohit.
I think this concept is purely related to SQL only, right? We have not entered into the mm, PL SQL some type of.
Yeah, PL SQL will be there after 2 weeks. So completely this one, this week and next week, we are completely going to learn about SQL only.
Okay. And the second question is, we have the SQL differences between DB to DB, correct?
Yes.
So how like we can able to understand the primary rules like TCL, DDL, DML, DQL. All these are like similar, right? In all the databases.
95% both are similar. Okay. In the every slide, I have highlighted the difference between PostgreSQL and MySQL. So here we are only targeting two databases. One is PostgreSQL, another one is MySQL.
Yeah,
Okay.
that means
But
like there is a syntactical difference between the
very
query.
little,
That's
very little. Procedure wise, completely different. But when it comes to this SQL part, 95% it's similar. It varies at functional functions mostly. But remaining most of the part will be same. So I
yeah.
have
Actually,
highlighted in the slides. In the
uh,
slides I have highlighted for both
why
posts.
why I'm asking this question, like earlier, I have used the Oracle database. I have like hands-on experience on that part. It's a
Okay.
very long back, like, right?
Yeah,
Not right. So because of that only, I have raised this questions. Thanks,
yeah,
thanks.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So this in this course, I'm going to cover both the PostgreSQL and MySQL. Okay. So every topic I will give you the difference. Okay, how we call it in the PostgreSQL. Okay, how we call this in the MySQL. Okay, I'll
And
give the
and
differences.
the other question, like for the practice purpose, right? We need some like database, a sample database, or we have the dumps with us, like
Yes. Yes, I will provide you tomorrow. So we are going to go with the e-commerce database and
yeah.
we are going to deal with the company, like a company portal. So I'll give both the data sets for both the, like both Postgres and MySQL as well.
Okay, okay, that will be great actually. Why? Because for the practice purpose, we need like use data for analyzing and the querying part, right? We need some
Yes.
data. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, as highlighted before, we are going to help you with both the databases. As mentioned, in the real time, we don't know what we are going to use as a OLTP and what we are going to use as a OLAP. Okay, so we need to practice on all the databases, like highly preferable one. So that is the reason. So in this course, I have included both the SQL Server and Postgres Server. So I have seen few projects in the Azure. They are using this SQL Server as OLTP. I have seen few projects they are using PostgreSQL as a data mart. So we cannot tell, okay, the client is going to use this. So the high performance or preferable ones are MySQL and PostgreSQL in the data engineering. So that is the reason I have highlighted these two databases in this course. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Coming back, yeah, we'll write the queries regarding this. Okay, so fine. Let me come back to the sub languages. We'll start with the DDL. We'll try to run some commands. I already installed my DBUR. So as shown, I already installed my DBUR. Let me open my DBUR. So let it be. Okay, as highlighted, to create the structure of the table, so we need four important things. One is column name, data type, length, and constraint. So here, column name, data type are mandatory. Length and constraints are used based on the client requirement. Okay, here data column name, data type are mandatory. So without column name or data type, we cannot create the table. Okay, length and constraints are used based on the client requirement. So these are like a optional. Okay, so to create a table, what are the things we require? We required column name, data type, length, and constraint. So in the four, column name and data type are mandatory. These are optional. So what is column name? Okay, so if I want to store my name, okay, so I need to give some ID, right? That is nothing but a column name. So if I want to store my first name, I'll give the column name as first name. If I want to store last name, I'll give as a last name. If I want to store email ID, I'll give name as a email ID. So like that, I will provide my column names while creating the table. Remember, while choosing the column name, do not use special characters except underscore. That is the first point. Second point is like avoid using abbreviation. So if I want to store quantity, let it be full name, not QTY or QT like that. Do not use abbreviations. Third one is business meaningful. So by seeing the column, I need to understand, okay, I'm going to store the name. I'm going to store the email ID. I'm going to store the phone number. Like that, by seeing the name itself, I need to understand, okay, what I'm going to store. So these are the points you need to remember while creating the table. Okay, next. Okay, so that's it about column name. Let me go with the data type. Okay, so I have classified data type as a three. As of now, we have total three type of data types. One is string, numeric, date data type. One is string, numeric, date data type. So why we use numeric data type? To store numeric values like numbers, decimal values like that. To store numbers or decimal values, I use numeric data type. Okay. Next, to store date values, time value, date time values, I use this date data type. Now, if I want to store some general data like names, numbers, special characters, anything, I use string data type. So total I have three data types. One is string, numeric, date data type. Okay. Based on the requirement, we use these data types. Okay. So let me start with the string. In the string, we have, when it comes to PostgreSQL, we have only three data types that are text, char, varchar. Okay. So here generally we use this varchar. In general we use this varchar. Okay, so why we use varchar? I have option as a char as well, right? Okay, let me go with one example. Assume I have two columns. Okay, assume I have two columns. One is first name, another one is last name. Okay, so these are the column names. I'm giving the data type as varchar 6. Okay, in the last name I'm giving char as 3 or 6, let it be. Now I am storing values. Okay, I'm storing the values. Let me go here. I'm storing ABC, ABC. Right now, in the background, each character will occupy 1 byte of storage unit. Okay, it occupy 1 byte of data. Right. So how many bytes I'm storing here in the first name column? In the first name column, how many bytes I'm storing? 1, 2, and 3. So I'm storing 3 bytes of data. In the last name, how many bytes I'm storing? I'm storing 3 bytes. But actually, in the background, this first name column will take 3 bytes of data. Okay, ignore spellings. Okay, this last name, last name occupy 6 bytes of data. Why? Because even though you have provided 3 bytes of data, as you are using char data type, okay, and you have given length as a 6, okay, remaining spaces will be occupied with padding. Padding means empty space. So this is the total value now. So if you are using char data type, okay, it if you are not passing complete value, okay, remaining spaces will be replaced with padding value, which means empty spaces. That is the reason. So in the last name, it is occupying 6 bytes of data. For the first name, it's occupying only 3 bytes of data. Why? Varchar will take only the length of the value. Okay, it will not replace, it will not fill with other paddings like that. Okay, so that is the reason we in general we use this varchar rather than char. Okay, I'm repeating in Telugu. యా సో ఇక్కడ నాకు రెండు కాలమ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఫస్ట్ నేమ్ లాస్ట్ నేమ్ అని ఉన్నాయి కదా. సో ఫస్ట్ నేమ్ లో నేను ఏం చేసా, ఏబిసి అనే వాల్యూని పంపించా. లాస్ట్ నేమ్ లో ఏబిసి అనే వాల్యూని పంపించా. ఓకే, స్టోర్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు ఒక్కొక్క క్యారెక్టర్ కి ఒక్కొక్క బైట్ ఆఫ్ డేటాను ఆక్యుపై చేస్తుంది, రైట్? సో ఎన్ని బైట్స్ ఆఫ్ డేటాను పాస్ చేస్తున్నా? 3 బైట్స్ ఆఫ్ డేటాను పాస్ చేస్తున్నా, రైట్? ఐఎమ్ పాసింగ్ 3 బైట్స్ ఆఫ్ డేటా హియర్ అండ్ 3 బైట్స్ ఆఫ్ data here. Super. Now this value is stored how? It will be stored as a 3 bytes, but in the last name it will be stored as a 6 bytes. So remaining 3 bytes ఏమైంది? It has filled with some padding. So అది ఏం చేసిందంటే padding తో remaining three spaces ని fill చేసింది. So that is the difference between char and varchar. Okay, so that is the reason we use varchar in the real time. Any doubts up to here?
Yeah, can we say like char is the fixed length and varchar
Char
is variable
Very,
type?
yes, char is a fixed length, varchar is a variable length. Correct. Okay. In in PostgreSQL, we have another data type called text. Okay. So this text data type we use to store description values. Okay. You can store up to 1 GB of data in the text data type. But as highlighted before, we use in general, we use this varchar only. Okay. So in the MySQL, we have other options like nvarchar, nchar, like that. So what is this nchar and varchar? Okay. Now coming to back to Notepad. Okay. By default, database can understand only English language. It can store only English keywords. Okay, you cannot store Telugu, Hindi, other languages. Okay, now if I want to store other languages, then what is the data type I need to use? I need to use nvarchar. Okay, so this nvarchar, what it will do, it will convert this whatever the value you are passing, like Telugu or Urdu language, it will be converted into the UTF format. What this nvarchar will do, it will convert your other language word into UTF format. Okay, so UTF is a language. Okay, for every word or every symbol in the world, we have a UTF value. Okay, so assume I have a smiley symbol. So for smiley symbol also, I have some UTF value. For every word in the world, we have a UTF value. So generally, most of the companies will use UTF-8. Fine. Coming back. So to store other than English words like Telugu, Tamil, Urdu, Hindi, anything, we use this nvarchar. We use this nvarchar. What this nvarchar will do, it will convert whatever the value you are passing, those values will be converted into UTF format, and the value will be stored as a UTF format. Okay. Okay. When it comes to PostgreSQL, okay, by default it is having UTF format. So that is the reason you don't need to mention any nvarchar like that. But when it comes to MySQL, you need to mention nvarchar. Okay, which means we are asking to convert Unicode value. So that is the difference between uh, and varchar. Okay, so in the Postgres, it will handle UTF-8 format. Okay, so but MS SQL you need to define it explicitly. Okay, I want to store some Telugu or Tamil words. Okay, just to use, I'm using varchar like that. I need to define. Okay, so here it is going to store in UTF-8 format. Here it is going to store in UTF-16 format. So this doesn't matter. Okay, anyway, those are all Unicode languages. Doesn't matter. So these are the data types we use in PostgreSQL and MySQL. Relatively same, except this varchar situation. Okay, that's it. That's it about string data type. Let me go with the length of the value. Okay, assume I have given the length of the value is 5. Okay, or 50. Right now, what is the maximum length of the value I'm going to store in the ID column? So that is up to 5, which means I can store up to 99999 only. So beyond that value, you cannot insert into the table. If you're trying to insert that value into the table, it will throw the error. Okay, you can insert maximum length of the value is 5. When it comes to country name, you can insert up to the maximum length up to the 50. Okay, you can store up to length of the character as 50. Okay, but if I'm not mentioning any length, so then what will be the maximum? So maximum value you can store is 1 GB. Okay, so in the above situations, I have talked about the length of the value. In here, I'm talking about the size of the value. This you need to remember. Length and size both are completely different. So do not get confused for the same. Okay. So if here we are providing a length of the value, if I'm not providing any length, then maximum size of the value allowed is 1 GB. 1 GB is a size. Clear? Any doubts? Okay, nice. So let me continue. So the second one is numeric data type. So in the numeric data type, I have three options. One is int, second one is decimal. Okay, there is an option called float. Anyway, we will not use it. Okay, mostly we use this int data type or decimal data type. Okay, why we use integer? To store numbers without decimal values, I go with the int data type. If I want to store number with the decimal value, I use this decimal data type. Okay. So in the decimal, length is mandatory. What is the length here? P comma S. What is P? Precision. What is S? Scale. Okay. If I want to store decimal value, then I definitely need to pass the length of the value. Right? To store normal numbers without decimal value, I go with int data type. To store number, okay, with the decimal value, then I use this decimal data type. Okay, what about float? Float also are able to store decimal values, but we avoid using float. Why? Because after one particular point, this float will start rounding the numbers. Okay, after one exponential point, it will start rounding the numbers. So, for example, I am storing 999999999 dot 99999. It will be stored as 10 into exponential power of 10 or 20, like that it will be stored. So that is the reason we avoid using float. Float will round the numbers while storing the data. So I want to store accurate number, then I'm going to use decimal data type. Okay, so actually numeric is the data type name, decimal is the alias name of numeric. Okay, everybody will have pet name, right? My name is Pawan. I have a pet name called Nani, right? In the similar way, numeric is the data type for SQL, decimal is the pet name. We call it as a alias name in the real time. Okay, so in the MySQL also similar. Okay, but here there is no numeric data type, we have only decimal data type. So that's it. That's it about numeric data type. Any doubts in the numeric data type? Harsha, Ranjit, Rohit. So now you are able to understand about this string data type and numeric data type. I'm assuming you are able to understand and you got it what exactly I'm saying. Fine. Let me continue. Okay, so if I want to store date value, I go with the date data type. If I want to store time value, I go with the time data type. If I want to store both date and time, I'm going with the timestamp data type. Okay, and here the value here the database will have fixed we call the format, date format. Okay, so most of the databases will follow this format. What is the format we have? MYYY, and DD. Okay, for that time it's and seconds. For this timestamp it's DD. Okay, so these are the formats we have in our real time. Okay, so this we call it as international format. Okay, this format we call it as international format. If you are passing the date value in a different format, it will consider as a string value. Okay, if database need to consider a value as a date value, then you need to use these formats only. With if you are using different formats, database will consider that as a string value. Okay, that's it about data type. So we have numeric int. Okay, if I want to store decimal value, I have decimal data type. If I want to store string value, general I use varchar. If I want to store date value, I go with the date data type. If I want to store date time, I'm going to use this timestamp data type. So these are the general data types we use in the real time. Okay, so that's it about data types. As highlighted before, to create a table we just need column name and data type. Okay, length and constraint we use based on the requirements. Constraint is good to know, but I have moved this topic after 1 week so that you can easily understand what. So in this 1 week time, we will learn about where sorting, all those things, right? So you'll get some idea about database, then you can understand constraint easily. That is the reason I have moved this constraint topic after 1 week. Okay, we'll discuss constraint after 1 week. Okay, done. Again, we'll come back to the DDL topic. Why we use DDL? To create the structure of the object. Object means to create the structure of the table. I use this to create the structure of the table. I use this DDL commands. DDL means data definition language. Okay, so so I want to create a table. Okay, I want to create a table. Okay. Now in the table, what is the structure of the object? Nothing but column name, ID. What is the data type? In. What is the column name? First name. What is the data type? Varchar. So this we call it as a structure of the object. This we call it as structure of the object. Okay, I want to store two values. One is user ID and his name. Okay, I need to create the structure of the object. How I can create the structure of the object? By using this create keyword. Okay, by using this create keyword, okay, I'm going to create the structure of the object. Right. So before going into deep, first I'll create a database, then I'll go with this creating the objects as highlighted before. First, we need to create the database. So create database. Let me create batch 52. Okay. Super. I have created a database called batch 52. Let me duplicate this, copy, and then paste it. Right. Click on edit connection. Let me connect with the batch 52 database. Okay, same. Click on test connection. Super. It's not supporting. Why? B52 only, right? So database name, everything is correct. Why? Database does not exist. Because but database is already created. Why it is throwing the error? Let me try again. Localhost 5432 B50. This is perfect. Fine. But why it's not connecting with the B52? Okay, let me click on text connection. Database does not exist. Why? Qt, yeah, database was created. Let me try to connect with database. Edit connection. Let me refresh. Why it's not taking this? Fine. I think it's a case sensitive issue. Let me try with small letters. Super. It's a case sensitive issue. Super. So what are the value I'm storing, right? It will be stored in lowercase. So that is the reason it has thrown the error. Let me save this as, let me rename this as a batch 52. Okay. Right. Let me connect with this database. Directly, if I open the console, it will be connected with this database. Okay. So now I can write my script here. So where we are exactly, you can find out from here. So we are exactly at batch 52 database and public schema. We will discuss this schema in the later session. Okay, done. Now I want to store student details. So for that one, I need to create the object. Create. So table, table name. Okay, as highlighted before, to create any table, we need column name, data type, and then length, and then constraint. So like that, I can create n number of columns. I can create n number of columns in a table. Okay, so this is the syntax of creating the table. This is the syntax for creating the table. Okay, now by using this syntax, let me create a student table. I want to store all the Fusion Academy students into the table. So for that one, I need to use the syntax create table student. Okay, so I want to store the name, right? So name, let me name it as username. What is the data type we use? In the name, we have we have some spaces, string, right? Then I go with the varchar data type. What will be the length? 50. Okay, I want to store date of birth, DOB, and what is the data type? Date data type. Okay, I want to store uh, let me go with the email ID. What is the data type I use? Varchar. So here in this varchar, I'm not mentioning any length. Okay, here I'm not mentioning any length. So if I'm not mentioning any length, what is the maximum value I can store? I can store up to 1 GB of data in the email ID column. Okay, now assume I have created the student table. Fine. Now, if I want to give the attendance, so assume I want to give attendance to Sai. In my table, I have two students with the same name, Sai. So how I can provide the attendance? Nothing but by using the ID, right? So while creating any table, this ID column is mandatory. So to identify that particular record, we use this ID column. Okay, and the data type is integer. So we have integer data type, string data type, date data type. Okay. Now I want to store their marks also in the BTech. Okay, I'll go with the decimal. Okay, decimal data type. In the decimal, length is mandatory. I'm giving 10. 10 means precision, entire length of the value. 2 means scale, decimal length of the value. So let me create the table. score, comma is missing here, syntax error. That is a syntax error. If you are missing any SQL keywords, it will throw the syntax error. Right? I have created a table called student. So what is the structure of the student? Let me show you by using this DQL query. Select star from student. So if I open this table, you can see the structure of the object. What is the structure of the object here? Column name, data type. Okay. And in the background, there will be a length as well. So here I have created the table by using column name and data type. Clear? Any doubts? Fine. If I want to modify the structure of the object, then what I need to use? I need to use alter command. So what is the syntax for modifying the structure of the object? Alter table, table name, condition. Okay. By using this syntax, I can modify the structure of the object. So how I can modify? What are the modifications I can do? I can add extra column. Nothing but alter table, table name. If I want to add some address column, what is the table name here? Student. Alter table, table name. What is the condition? I want to add column, address column, right? Add column, okay, address, varchar 100, right? So by using this alter command, I can modify the structure of the object. Now, if I execute this, you can see the extra column was added at the end of the table. Okay, like that I can add multiple columns. Now I want to add some column called demo. You can see the demo was added at the end of the table. So if you see the structure of the table, you can find this demo column. Now, if I want to drop this column, same thing, alter table, table name, and then condition. What is the condition? Drop column, column name. What is the column I want to drop? I want to drop the demo. So you can see now the demo column was removed from the table. So by using this alter command, I can add columns, I can remove the columns, and I can rename the column names as well. I can rename the column name as well. So alter table, table name, rename, rename. So I want to rename this, let me rename to DOB to birth date. Okay, let me execute this command. Okay, now you can see there is no column with the name DOB. It was renamed to birth date. So like that, I can rename the table as well. Let me rename the table student to STUD. Okay, or customer. Alter table student, rename. Directly I'm using rename to customer. Okay, now let me execute this command. Now, if I try to call select star as a student, it will say table does not exist. Why? Because I have renamed this table to student, sorry, customer. I have renamed the student table to customer. Now, if I want to see the details, I need to check in the customer table, not in the student table. So like that, by using this alter command, I can modify the structure of the object. What are the modifications I can do? I can add column, I can remove the column, I can rename that column name, I can rename the table name, I can change the data type, or I can change the length of the object. Okay, so in the PPT, I have given both alter command for PostgreSQL and MySQL as well. So create syntax is same, no problem in that. Okay, syntax will be the same. There will be no much changes here. But alter commands, the keywords will vary. Okay, those two I have provided here. Both MySQL and PostgreSQL I have provided in the slides. While practicing, just go with my slides. That's it. Okay, and the last one is a drop command. Okay, as highlighted before, by using this drop, what I can do, so I can remove both data, if there is a data, okay, and structure of the object. So by using this drop command, I'm going to remove both data as well as structure of the object. Let me execute the same command, drop table, table name, customer. So you can see whatever the data inside this customer and the structure of the object, both will get removed from the database. Now, if I try to call this, there is no object or data exist with this customer name. Clear? Any doubts? So all these three, we call it as DDL command. All this create, alter, drop, truncate, all these things we call it as a DDL command. Okay, we'll see truncate in the later session. But what exactly truncate will do? Truncate will remove all the data. Structure will remain same, which means the structure will remain same. Data will be removed. So this all four we call it as a DDL commands. DDL means data definition language. Why we use DDL? To create, modify, drop the structure of the object. We use this DDL commands. Okay, so that's it. That's it. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Harsha, Ranjit, Rohit, any doubts up to DDL? Fine. Let me continue further. Okay. Now, so I have created the structure of the object. Now, what about if I want to handle the data, I want to store the data, or I want to update the data, or I want to delete the data? Then I have this DML. What is DML? Data manipulation language. Why we use DML? To handle the data in a table or in a object. You can say table directly. To handle the data in a table, we use this DML commands. Okay. So what are the DML commands we have? Insert, update, and delete. These three, we call it as a DML commands. So as mentioned previously, whatever the data I'm inserting, it will be inserted in the form of row. Okay, whatever the data I'm inserting, the data will be inserted in the form of row. So let me go with the syntax. So what is the syntax for this insert query? Insert into table name. Okay, we have a keyword called values. In the values left side, we will mention the column names. C1, C2, C3. In the right side of the table, we will mention the related values. In the right side of the value, we'll mention the relative values like V1, V2, V3, like this. Okay. So before that, let me create the table again. So I'm created the student table, right? Let me paste it here for better understanding. Now, let me insert some records into the student table. Insert into students, right? So values, in the values left side, will pass the columns. Okay, what are the columns I have? I have ID, username, DOB, email, and then score. In the right side of the values, I will pass the related values. Related value means, so if you are defining ID here, you need to mention the ID value here. Okay, in the second position, if you are defining the username, in the second position, you need to provide the username value. In the third position, I have given my date of birth. So as mentioned before, you need to follow database understandable format, that is YYY MMDD. Okay. Next. Then what is the next value? Email ID. And then next, I need to pass the score. Okay. So these are the columns and these are the related values. So in the first position, if I'm defining ID, in the first position, I need to provide the related value. So these are like what you call సో ఇక్కడ ఏం జరుగుతుందంటే ఎగ్జాక్ట్ గా మ్యాపింగ్ అనేది జరుగుతుంది. దేర్ ఇస్ అ మ్యాపింగ్ హ్యాపెనింగ్ హియర్. సో బేస్డ్ ఆన్ ద పొజిషన్స్ the related values are mapping here. Okay, so now let me insert this record. Super, this record got inserted. You can see here updated rows is 1. Super, super. Now here These column names are not mandatory. Okay, you don't need to pass any column names here. Just let me pass to Sai. Okay. So it will not throw any error. Okay, no need of mentioning any column names. Okay, you can directly insert the value. When when you are passing all the values, if you are passing only few values, okay, you don't know what is the date of birth. Okay, so let me remove here. Okay, if you are not passing the all the values, okay, if you are not passing all the values, then these column names are mandatory. Then these column names are mandatory. Without the column names, it will throw the error. Okay, why? In the third position, we have date of birth. You are trying to pass the string value. That is the reason it is throwing the error. So if you are passing only few columns, then definitely mention the related columns here. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, and I'm passing only 4 values. What is the value missing? Date of birth is missing. So now, if you insert the details, you can see that record will get inserted. So let me see the values in the table. Select star from student. Okay, here you can see. So this is the structure of the object. This is the data we have. Okay. Okay, if you see here in the third record, I'm not passing the date of birth. Okay, whenever I'm not passing any value, okay, by default, null will get stored. Null means value is missing. If you are not passing any value, by default, database will insert null value into the table. Okay, so if you are passing, value will get inserted. If you are not passing any value, by default, null will get inserted. Okay, we'll discuss more about null in the later session. Okay, so okay, so again coming back. So if I want to pass multiple values in a single SQL statement, can I do? Yes, you can do. How? By passing this value set 1 comma value set 2 comma value set 3, like that. For the last value set you will not put any comma, which means database will understand, okay, this is the last value. If you put comma, it will throw the syntax error. Okay, for the last value we will not put any comma, so that database can understand this is the last value. So let me insert this as a 4, 5, and then this is 6. So this is Sai, right? So let me put Faraz, Kumar, Vish, Mohan. Insert these records. You can see in a single insert query, I have inserted 4 records at a time. So you can see the data as well in the table. Super, super. Now, 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 so by mistake, I have updated all the email IDs wrong. Okay. For the Ramu, it should be the email ID should be ramu@gmail.com. Right? Now, let me update the value. So for the updating the value, we have a syntax that is update table name, set column name, and new value where condition. Okay, so if you are not using where condition, what will happen? Okay, if you see in the screen, whatever the value I'm inserting into the table, that will be inserted in the form of row. Okay, if I'm doing update, it will be affected in the form of column. So whatever the values I'm updating, right, it will be affected in the form of column. Okay, so if you are not using where class, okay, all the rows will get updated with the same value. Okay, that is the reason I need to use where class to update particular record. Okay, let me show you. So with the same update table name, update student. Okay, set. What is the column name I want to update? Email ID. Email ID equal to the new value. Okay, I want to update ramu@gmail.com. Okay, here I'm not passing any value. Okay, I'm not putting any condition. What will happen? All the rows all the rows, okay, having column email, right? This email column will be updated as Ramu at their email gmail.com. Why? Update will impact the values in the form of columns. Okay, insertion will be happen in the form of row. Okay, updation will be impacted in the form of column. So if I'm not using where class, all the values in this column will be updated as a same value. Let me execute this, and you can see here all the 7 rows got updated, and you can see the same value will be there in the email ID column. Okay, so that is the reason we need to use where class. Okay, we'll discuss about the where class in the later class. So let me use where class. Okay, in the where class I have mentioned the condition as id1, which means now if I execute this query, only this particular row value only will get impacted, which means only this particular value will get impacted. So update will be impacted in the form of column. What is the column name I have given? Email ID. Okay, I'm going to update all the rows. No, I'm updating only a record having ID1. So only one record will get updated. So let me execute this query. You can see all the records are in ramu@gmail.com except this Pawan record. Why? I have updated only that particular row. So in the update statement, we definitely need to use this where class. If you are not using where class, all the columns will get updated as the same value. So the last one is delete. Delete command. Delete from table name student. Okay, I want to delete ID2 where ID equal to 2. Okay, now this row will be deleted in the form of same. This rows also will be deleted in the form of rows only. Okay, now you tell me, if I execute this query, how many rows are going to delete? Kumar, Ranjit, Rohit, how many rows are going to delete?
Or
How many rows?
Three only, right? ID, you were pointing only ID value. So ID is whatever the two is there, it will be deleted.
Rows will get deleted, right? Okay, but here all the rows will get deleted. Let me execute this. You can see all the rows are get deleted. So in the real time scenario, everybody will make the same mistake. What exactly they do? Okay, so they will write the query properly, but while executing, they are selecting half of the syntax, not full syntax. Due to this, all the rows will get impacted. Even though you have written the syntax correct, but while executing, you have selected half of the value. So that is the reason all the rows got deleted. Okay, so we need to be very cautious while executing the query. So now see, I have inserted few records. So 2, 4, 5, 6. Now let me execute this command. Only one row will get deleted. Why? Because I have selected this query properly. So it's be very cautious while executing this update, delete, drop, truncate. Okay, this will impact your business data.
I think the sub part is missing because of that only it will
Yes.
take the whole thing.
Yes. So real time low, everybody will make the same mistake. They will write
Yeah.
in multiple lines. They simply execute the query. All the rows will get affected. So we need to be very cautious while executing delete, update, and drop and truncate commands. So that's it about DDL and DML. So yeah, coming to interview point of view, for the freshers, we'll get a question: difference between delete, drop, and truncate. So this is the question we'll get in the interview. What is the difference between delete, drop, and truncate? Simple answer: drop and truncate are DDL command. Delete is a DML command. Okay. So delete, by using delete, you can delete all the records. You can delete selective records. When it comes to truncate, okay, truncate, what it will do? We cannot write any condition. It will remove all the records in a table. Okay, if I use this truncate command, okay, what this truncate will do? It will remove all the records in a table. Okay, let me execute this. You can see So all the rows got deleted in the table. So there are no records. Okay. Truncate will remain the structure same. Data will get deleted. Okay. And the last one is a drop. Okay. What drop will do? It will delete both data and structure of the object. Okay. What it will do? This drop, what drop will do? It will delete both structure and data as well. So if I execute this, both structure and data will be removed from the database. So now you cannot find any table with the name student. Why? Both structure and data got removed from the database. So that's it about DDL and DML. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. I'm stopping the recording.